Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to film a video for the Book Naturalist Book Club. And I am doing a review of our author spotlight author for the month of July, and that's Sy Montgomery, who is an author that I have read before. And in fact, I reread this book, The Soul of an Octopus, a surprising exploration into the wonder of consciousness, for this month for the author spotlight. So who is Sy Montgomery? She is a very well-known author and naturalist, American author and naturalist. She was actually born in Frankfurt, Germany, but grew up in the United States and went to college at Syracuse University, where she graduated with a triple degree in, let's see if I can remember, magazine journalism, French literature, and psychology. So how about that for 3 majors? And she's written 34 books for adults and for children, all about animals and our connection with animals and nature. She really delves deeply into the consciousness of other living creatures other than humans, and really writes beautifully about their how they perceive the world and why we should be more in tune to how other creatures see the world and not just from a human perspective. So like I said, I had read this book previously and I just love it. I think this is what I would term cozy nonfiction, because Sy Montgomery writes with so much heart and so much emotion about the animals that she's talking about. And in this particular book, she's written books about many different kinds of animals: hummingbirds, hawks, pigs, dogs, like all kinds of animals, apes and orangutans. But this book is about octopus and octopuses and also other invertebrates, sea creatures, but mostly about octopuses. And it's about her interactions with octopuses, particularly that were housed in the Boston Aquarium, which is near and dear to my heart. I have visited the Boston Aquarium many, many times in my lifetime. I love the Boston Aquarium. And this book also delves deeply into how the Boston Aquarium is organized. She goes behind the scenes. She works pretty closely as a volunteer behind the scenes and meets lots of the staff and lots of the scientists and naturalists that work within the aquarium system. And she really describes really wonderfully how that institution is set up. And so I really loved that part of the book as well. But really, the way this book shines is her descriptions of her interactions with octopuses. And there are several different ones that she personally connects with, not just with touch, but with the octopuses seem to develop relationships with her, and her descriptions of the intelligence and the awareness of these creatures with their, not with just their habitat in the aquarium, but she goes into the wild. She learns how to scuba dive, and she goes to the Caribbean and she dives different reefs and encounters octopuses in the wild. And they're still just as aware of what she's doing in the wild as the ones that she gets to know really well in the aquarium setting. So yeah, lovely, lovely book, really touching, very emotional. I really enjoyed it. This was a great book for a reread too. I could just take my time with it and really savor it. I did mark a little section just so you could get an idea of her writing style. I always like to do that. So this is from the very beginning of chapter 3 about an octopus named Callie. Octopuses are famous for showing up in places that surprise you. One giant Pacific octopus took up temporary residence in a pair of overalls in a shipwreck and scared a diver half to death when the overalls rose up before him, writhing. Octopuses have turned up inside large conch shells and in scientists' tiny oceanic measuring instruments. Red octopuses particularly like to den in stubby brown beer bottles. But I never expected to find Bill's new octopus in a pickle barrel in the sump. So yeah, a lot of humor. Like I said, she does write about the different staff that she works with at the Boston Aquarium and the other volunteers as well. And there's some young people that she encounters that are doing just wonderful things in the aquarium, and really through their interaction with sea creatures, just enhancing their own lives and dealing with problems in their own lives in a way that, you know, this experience working with these sea creatures really helps them come to terms with things that are happening outside of the aquarium setting in their own lives. So yeah, love this book. Really highly recommend. I also read How to Be a Good Creature by Sy Montgomery. That's another one that I would call cozy nonfiction. So if you, those two books I can highly recommend. I haven't yet read any of her other books, but I do plan to at some point. I think she's a wonderful writer, and I very much enjoy how she lays out her observations and how she makes her arguments for why it's important that we understand how other creatures perceive the world and why it's so important that we make those kind of connections with other creatures. So absolutely love Sy Montgomery. I hope you had a chance to read something by this author in the month of July. So in August, we are going to be reading a work of translated nonfiction because it's Women in Translation Month. And the book that we're going to be reading is Extraordinary Insects, The Fabulous, Indispensable Creatures Who Run Our World by Anne Sverdrup-Thygeson. And I apologize if I just butchered her name. And this is translated by Lucy Moffat. And this was previously published as Buzz, Sting, Bite. So you may have encountered this book under that title. I think in Europe it was published under that title. So this book, I'm really, really excited because this is all about insects, and I can't get enough of reading about insects. I think they're really fascinating. I think this cover is really beautiful. And I'm excited to read more translated nonfiction. I think that, you know, we don't get enough translated nonfiction, particularly nonfiction about the sciences and nature translated. So I am always on the hunt for more stuff translated from other languages into English. So this one, I think, says insects comprise roughly half of the animal kingdom. They live everywhere, deep inside caves, high in the Himalayas, inside computers, in Yellowstone's hot springs, and in the ears and nostrils of much larger creatures. You know, that if that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what we're going to do. But I am excited to read Extraordinary Insects in the month of August. I hope that you can join us for that. I hope that you were able to pick up some Sy Montgomery in the month of July. If you did, please let me know down below which book of hers that you read in July. I would love to hear it. I hope you're all doing well and finding some good books to read. I will talk to you later.